I couldn't, I don't have an image of it, because
I had it, I deleted it, I think.
I looked back through all of them.
Okay, I thought I heard the door, but,
But Helen didn't have a one.
I heard it too.
yeah, okay. Okay. I will call the meeting to order, and can we have the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'll have the roll call, please.
Mr. Huffman.
Here.
Mr. Schaefer.
Here,
Ms. Dixon.
Here.
Mr. Good.
Here.
Mr. Sowers.
Yes, here.
Mr. Seward.
Here.
And Ms. Noah.
Here. Sorry.
oh, you're within
My-
the limit.
You're within a minute, so that's all
I
right.
watch it slow.
Hey, Grace.
Hi.
All right, it's good to see everybody. Do we have anything that needs to be added or deleted from the agenda?
I move that the town council add agenda item to, or not, that there isn't an addition.
I
You
don't
don't have to
think,
do that?
I don't think we need to do anything unless we need to add or delete something.
Oh, okay.
So, I think we're good to go. Okay. All right, we do have the statement that needs to be read, as we've been doing, I guess, for over a year now. This meeting of the Town Planning Commission is being held pursuant to the April 13th, 2020 ordinance for continuity in the government of Luray. The town manager shall read the names of the commission members present and identify those who are electronically present. The town manager is responsible for receiving public comment in advance of the meeting, which may be submitted by mail, email, phone, or hand delivery by 5 p.m. on the day of the meeting. In-person attendance and comment by the public is also permitted, subject to the limitations of the most recent executive order and phasing guidelines issued by the governor. This meeting can be viewed live on the town's Facebook page, and a recording will be available on the town's YouTube channel. Minutes from the meeting will be posted on the town's website after being approved by the Planning Commission. We are following the guidelines, even though husbands and wives are separated. Even though they rode in the same vehicle to the meeting. Okay. We have the minutes of March the 10th. Any additions or corrections that we need to make to those minutes? Okay, is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed. I don't think we have anybody that signed up. I know we have some folks here that may have some input on the item that's coming up a little bit later, but I don't think we have anybody else that's signed up to comment at this time. Okay, we do have one public hearing that's been advertised. We have a copy of the advertisement for us to hold a public hearing on today, April 14th. And this matter This matter concerns the roof-mounted and ground-mounted electric producing systems. As stated here in the notes, these systems within certain size limits would be permitted by right in all town zoning districts, and the larger systems would need to be in the industrial M1. And of course, that would take a special use permit. We have discussed this at other meetings. Is there any other information or any questions or anything at this time? Steve, I did notice something in the proposed ordinance. In the paragraph on the small-scale accessory installation, the ones that would be ground-mounted, in the last sentence there, where it says, "These installations shall be a by right use permitted," should it say in all zoning districts?
No, because
We have it up above for the small scale. It says that they shall be a by right use in all zoning districts.
okay, we can make that modification, yes. Sir.
But I just wondered if it should be, just to make it clear that these also, within those guidelines, can be allowed in all zoning districts.
Yes, sir.
All right, any questions or anything else on this matter of,
Has there been discussion about potentially, if needed, putting this on like the in-town school properties, like school roofs? You know, having a, I don't know if anybody's discussed it with like Luray Elementary, Luray Middle School. If we would get to that point, if that would be something that would be permissible or something that might want to be discussed at a later date.
Well, again, a lot of schools have.
Yeah, that's what I thought, so. it was-
Well, and again, they're typically looking at the roof mounted. If they were to need to exceed the 50% of the roof, then we might have to talk about it then, but I'm not sure that any school has actually gone through typically, the way that they orient schools, there's only one side of the roof that would be,
Okay.
have the panels
Capability.
installed.
Okay.
So that's usually where you get into, I'm only putting it on half, the half that
Right.
typically faces the, but again, this at least gives us the basis to talk, if
Right.
there is a need to change, we could always.
Okay.
okay, any other questions or discussions? I will officially then open the public hearing. I don't think we have anybody signed up to speak on this matter. Unless you have any comments on sustainable energy systems? Okay, all right, then I'll close the public hearing because we had that opportunity for anyone to present their comments by email or telephone call or in person. Okay, if we're ready, then we can have a motion to accept this code amendment.
I move that the Planning Commission recommend approval for the Town Council of the Code Amendment to Appendix A, Article 5, Section 517, Sustainable Energy Systems as presented.
Support.
Okay, can we have the roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Ms. Noack?
Yes.
Mr. Seward? Yes. Mr. Sowers?
Yes.
Mr. Good?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
And Mr. Huffman?
Yes.
Okay, the other matters, we have a number of things to either discuss or to be updated on. One is the zoning map that would take in any changes that have been made since June of 2016. Any update on that, Steve?
No, sir, actually, Brian identified there have been a couple of parcels that were boundary line adjusted, and we're researching those to make sure there was no adjustment to the map associated with those that would need to be included. But what we did come up with as far as the zoning map, working with Brian and the town attorney, we've come up with a draft of section 412, the open space park zoning district, and that's presented to you for your review. Basically, it's limited by right use of park and recreation, public park and recreation areas, forests, preserves, conservation areas, agriculture, cemeteries, and the associated parking for those uses. There would be permitted by special use permit, emergency response facilities that may need to be located in those areas, a bed and breakfast if someone wants to have a conservation area but wanted to allow for limited residential stay in that area. We could also include commercial recreational areas such as playgrounds, picnic areas, swimming clubs, golf clubs, driving ranges, things of that sort that were commercial, not public in nature. And then other outdoor areas like campgrounds and other non-identified but non-recurring uses if someone were to come up with something that would make sense.
So if I'm thinking correctly, this would be like another zoning district?
Yes, sir.
Just like R1, R2?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It would be an all-encompassing, limited development, open space area.
Any other discussion or questions on this? Would this then be ready for public hearing next month?
Yes, sir, we'll go ahead and set up the advertising. Yes, sir.
Okay, then we have the section on zoning ordinance amendments, which we've talked about for a number of months now.
Yes, sir, we're trying to, staff are presenting we looked at a lot of information. The first was that we presented to you all for consideration tonight was the sustainable energy. We'll present that to council. What we're hoping to confirm with you all are some of the changes to the supplementary regulations, specific to construction trailers, temporary trailers, portable storage containers, and then a requirement of fencing that the more appealing side of the fence is faced outward from the property so that it's not offensive to any other folks. And then some minor changes to our sign ordinance where we would include a definition of a banner as well as indicating that signs in the public right-of-way require town approval.
Steve, on that point, does that need to be more specific?
Not according to our town attorney.
Okay. Well, I picked up on that, of course, because it's in red. That's one of our changes.
Mm-hmm.
And it says signs erected in or over a public right-of-way or on public land without appropriate government approval. I thought, what does that mean? I mean, I know what it means, but
Well, right now, we have a permit process for temporary signs in the right-of-way. And not to get into too much of the legal discussion, the town attorney felt that it was better to be very general than more specific on the permitting of such signage. That way we don't get into, at least within the code, what signs can go in, how long they can be in. That can be more of the administrative approved by town council.
Okay. Okay, just wondered.
Now, I'm glad you picked up on that, but the original version, we were much more specific, and the town attorney did request that we pull out that language and go to a softer version.
Okay. All right, any other discussion or questions on changes in these regulations? Okay, is that also one that'll be ready for public hearings?
Yes, sir, we will advertise that as well.
Okay.
And we may, we have already scheduled for your May meeting, the consideration of the split zone. And Brian's got about 12.
About 14 total. Those letters of allotment.
Yeah. So, depending on how long of a meeting we want, we may push back one of those, but the split zone is definitely, will be on your agenda in May.
We had one meeting not too long ago, or a couple years ago, that we had 5 public hearings that night, so it was easy. I mean, we just went through the issues and it was easy.
Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Final item that we have for your discussion, the town has received a special use permit application to operate a lodging house out of 402 Luray Avenue. That is located within the Bloomfield High Density Residential District. Staff have some recommendations specific to operation of an Airbnb in that area, including occupancy of no more than 6 guests at one time. Off-street parking is required for all guests. One identification sign can be permitted on the property not to exceed 4 square feet. Meals, if provided, shall be served only to guests renting bedrooms in the dwelling, and the owners must obtain a town business license, and transient occupancy and any meals tax, if collected, must be remitted to the town. And the owners are here if there's any questions regarding the application.
We have a number of items of information, a letter from the owners, picture of the dwelling, tax map information, location on the street. So, anything else that we need to know at this time?
If you don't mind.
Oh, sure, please.
In the order of being expeditious to keep you all moving along, one, thank you for the opportunity to come and chat with you all about this. I'm Chris Alsop. This is my wife and CFO, Julie Alsop. My wife, CFO, not just business partner. We appreciate, again, as I said, the opportunity to come here. We've been in the Airbnb business inadvertently for about 3 years now. We have a place that we fell in love with in Fort Valley, just over the way. And like all things, unfortunately, we don't have as much time to get there as we might like to get there. So at some point, we wanted to make sure that the place stayed full and it wasn't getting full of critters and whatnot. So we're like, well, how do we deal with that? And so we discovered Airbnb, and we've had a great success, with that in bringing people to the area, getting to know new people. and really supporting that community. Our neighbors have been great fans of what we've been doing there, and honestly have been supportive of everything we've done. We've also had the opportunity to support, people that are in this community or right down the road in Rileyville, our housekeepers and the people who make that all possible for us. They live right down the road. Wanda and Missy, they're great partners. They want to work with us on this particular property here as well, so we can continue to support them, as well as other vendors where that may need to be. We had some work that we had to get done on the property, so we were all local to the greatest extent that we could on that. The economic benefit of Airbnb is, I think, is well documented around the world. Everybody in every community where it does show up does see economic growth from that, whether that be through retail services, whether that be through restaurants in general. So obviously we, through our own personal investment in purchasing the property, paying our taxes to the community, and any taxes that we'll collect and return to the city, we'll obviously support that city. But I think the real benefit does come in the guests that come themselves and spend a significant amount of their, their own personal income in the local community as they're here. I will say that it has been our personal experience, and I apologize if anybody does own any of the fine hotels, motels, et cetera, in the city, that Airbnb is providing people an opportunity to actually get out in a comfortable place where they can take their families and actually get out and spend that money again where they haven't been in a while, because they've been afraid to, either be in the common space for breakfast or whatever. So it really is kind of opening the world back up and helping to do that. So I'm happy to answer, or my wife is happy to answer any questions. Again, she's the brains of the operation. So, if you have any specific questions, we're happy to answer them.
Are there questions or anything that needs to come up at this time?
Thank you.
We appreciate all the information that came with the special use permit. So if there's nothing else on that at this time, we will invite you back on May the 12th. It'll be advertised, of course, in the Page News for the public hearing before the Planning Commission on May the 12th. Anything else that we need to hear about at this time?
Luray Meadows, the apartment project that the town is involved in, we have issued the notice to proceed as of today to the contractor. They are Pine Oak Construction out of Winchester. So work on the apartments out behind Walmart should be starting shortly. The town's part of that project is basically utility and parking lot infrastructure, and then People Inc. will be responsible for the vertical construction, but that is underway.
And that's one of the good things, I think, about being on the Planning Commission or the Town Council or Town Administration, to see a project that first came up 2-3 years ago and has gone through the funding process and regulations and all of the procedures to now getting to the point where they're ready to break ground, and that's a good thing. What is it, about 50 apartments?
52.
52. First time there's been any new apartments built in town probably in 30 years or so, especially on a scale like this.
They're gonna be income based.
It will be low and moderate income to qualify for this.
And that's another thing we've always identified when we've worked on the comprehensive plan, the need for housing. And this will provide brand new spaces. And
It'll be a welcome help, no
Yes.
question.
And as I say, it's something we've always identified, always when the comprehensive plan has been revised. And this is one part that's going to help with that. So, Very good.
As will a new B and B help.
Absolutely.
Sometime we get more visitors than lodging spaces available. They end up on Interstate 81.
You won't have any trouble.
Steve, I think we need to mention too that just from seeing things in the newspaper or on Facebook, we certainly have had a lot of business openings lately. I understand
There's more to come.
Yes, I was going to say, I understand there's still some vacant buildings, but some of those I know are going to be filled up, and there's a number of others that have already had the ribbon cuttings, and it's kind of amazing, really.
It is, the former Peyton's Restaurant, spoke with the owners this morning. They're actually working to put in a new restaurant in that location. IVR is continuing work on the Chapman House next to it, and then as soon as they finish rehabilitating that building, they're gonna move over to the Browns building that they have, we have closed on that, so they are actually the owners of that building now. So, and then a number of other new businesses and restaurants coming up through town, so it's definitely a positive time to be in Luray.
What's going on at Artisans?
It has sold.
I wish I knew to
Yeah,
tell you.
Yeah.
I've been trying to find
I
out.
understand that the owners are out of Northern Virginia, but that's about
I
all
know.
that I've been able to gather. And I do understand that they do plan to put in a restaurant shortly. So that should be coming alive in the near future.
Great. I know with my work with Luray downtown, we've kind of moved from trying to attract businesses here, but we're running into the problem of there's no place to put the people who want to come and be on Main Street, and so now it's kind of into.
Are there any storefronts on Main Street available right now?
Hardly, and I found out today another building that's on Main Street is gonna go up for sale, and the people in there now are looking for a new location, so it's a challenge. It's now we've moved in from, to retention instead of attraction for Main Street. It's a different problem, and it's great to have, so.
Great problem.
What's the latest on Bucks?
Last I'd heard, Mr. Greer was still in South Carolina.
He's here and there, I see him.
Yeah, it seemed.
Now, they have completed the renovations of the
Auction house.
Auction house, yeah.
Yes, sir. And it looks wonderful.
Yeah. And Susan's got some good plans for that. We'll see what happens. There's been talk of another brewery coming to town, and we're looking at spaces for those guys too, either there or maybe a brand.
Options.
What, the coffee place went open up?
Shortly.
Yesterday.
Very soon, I think, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
they-
no, I'm saying like any day, so.
Talked with Jay Dedman, it's literally any day.
Any day.
I thought they had mentioned sometime mid-May.
I think so. Yeah, I should say maybe April, but May.
Yeah, it was
yeah.
supposed to be mid-April,
Yeah.
but restaurants are infamous for opening several weeks after their
Yeah.
designated date, so.
I know they've hired some good folks to work in there, so we'll see.
Yeah.
All very good, good positive things.
And just to let y'all know, this is actually the Luray's 150th year existing as an incorporated town, so we'll be celebrating that on the 4th of July. And so positive things happening after 150 years of being an incorporated town.
Any other business or any other comments or?
I guess Mr. Huffman can give you more details, but Creekside Commons is coming along nicely.
Oh, yes.
very nicely. I think we'll be done by June 25th, maybe, somewhere like that.
I think it's the end date for the grant, so
We're working towards getting that completed, and that'll be a nice addition, I think, for sure.
Definitely improve the entry into.
Definitely improve our
Into
gateway,
Luray,
for
yeah.
sure.
And Lord Fairfax is,
Up and running,
Up
I
and-
don't know that they have in school classes yet. The town did work with them, we actually conducted diversity training for council and staff in the building. And it is a wonderful campus and a great addition to.
I hear they have a beautiful boardroom.
Yes, it's
Oh,
really,
the
really nice.
I hear the view's phenomenal, yeah.
I'm on the committee to rename Lord Fairfax, so I had that meeting today, and we're coming up with names to
Good.
that right now, so. Kim will have a name to release to the public fairly soon.
good luck.
Yeah. That's not a fun one, but it's interesting.
Okay, again, all kinds of things happening, and let's see, what is it? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 matters to be advertised for May the 12th. May the 12th. Okay, if there's nothing else, we have completed our agenda, so we stand adjourned.
Thank you.